what would you say are the, the top things that families should be thinking about right now, so that when, this does open up and the economy does, we have a vaccine and things are out there doing what they're supposed to be doing, we're hitting the ground running, so to speak. Can you speak to that for a little bit?
Yeah, I'll jump in first. There's an interesting survey coming out of Banyan Global based in Boston. It hasn't been fully published yet, but it's essentially taking the pulse of business owners right now. A couple interesting findings. 90%, and excuse me for reading some of this, 90% said certainly there's been a negative impact on the business, but that's split evenly between a minor impact and a major one. So yes, it's affecting everyone, but only about 5% feel that they're in danger of failing. How they're responding: 69% are delaying capital investments, 40% are reducing salary or benefits, 28% are reducing dividends, 24% are laying off employees. So relatively small in terms of laying off employees. And very few are bringing in outside capital or selling parts of the business. But one, I think, interesting point is that, and we alluded to this earlier, for a lot of these businesses, communication has increased, in some cases exponentially. And they're, for many of these families that, might be, geographically dispersed, again, suddenly all of a sudden this technology we're using now seems so brand new, but, are realizing that, this can be a very effective tool to connect with family members near and far. So, to answer your question, Michael, I think for many business owners, it's affected them. We all realize that. I think, the big unknown here is, when do we get back to normal and what does that look like? To Ed's point, I remain optimistic like him. I think, we are a species that wants human contact and social proximity. And I think there'll be a calculated risk in terms of what that's going to look like eventually. But, for businesses right now, other than the things we've already talked about in terms of finding new ways to your customers, I think this is a good time to maybe look at, some of those governance and relationship type things that, might set, a precedent for, better practices moving forward. If you are in a place where you do have a lot of that time to think, either because business has been suspended or is incredibly reduced right now, take advantage of that time to really lay the groundwork. If the goal is to continue beyond this generation, this is a great time to involve that generation using all of the technology and tools that are there right now, and think about, what can you do to better prepare for, when business springs back.
Wonderful. Tim?
Yeah, I echo a lot of that. I think for business that, well, for example, I'm thinking of a conversation I had with somebody who owns a kitchen and bath installation company and store, and they're clearly not doing anything right now. They have a lot of backed up work, but they just, they don't want to go into someone's home they don't know, and people don't want them in their homes. So they've gotten through their payroll protection plan loans, so they haven't had to lay anybody off. They're paying them a reduced salary, but they want to keep them there. But what they're doing is they are focusing on maintaining the best relationships they can with their employees, meaning asking them, well, what do you need? What do you feel like you need right now to get through this day or this week? And then trying to help them with that. And then with their customers, staying in touch with them with some interesting things, like tips and techniques for keeping your kitchen the cleanest it can possibly be. Those kind of things, to reach out to them to say, we know where you are, and we're just going to try to help you the best way we can. And I think doing those two things, and then paying attention to the responses that you get back from your employees and from your customers, and maybe even if you're worried about supply chain, maintain that relationship with your supplier on a basis of that, what the Arbinger Institute calls that outward mindset. What impact can I have on somebody else rather than how are they impacting me? And I think you'll be able to ratchet up, amp up, get back to normal, whatever you want to call it, very quickly because of the human connections that you've strongly maintained during this time period.
Perfect. Yeah.
Tim, I would add to that. My brother-in-law actually owns a kitchen and bath design company, and he's actually seen an increase in business at this time. It's allowing, he has some virtual tools that he can employ, which is allowing him to sort of cast his business further afoot. So he's, rather than doing, calls with people that live 2 hours away, he can now do them and do more of them in a day. And plus, where he happens to live in rural New Jersey, there's been an influx of real estate deals with people, again, kind of similar to post 911, people wanting to get out of the major urban areas. And a lot of the real estate in that part of New Jersey is starting to dry up. Plus, you have families that are who maybe not be affected as financially by this crisis right now and happen to have a lot of time on their hands. And they're thinking now's the best time to do, some home improvement projects. So again, I think it speaks to that, finding your customers where they are and what their needs are and what new tools can you utilize that maybe help sort of bridge that physical distance gap.